Hello, everyone. This is Los Angeles Chronicles, episode 27. I'm your host, podcaster, Malcolm Tyler. How is everybody this evening? This is November 27th. We're recording live in Rosemead. Tomorrow is Thanksgiving. And honestly, I'm the last person to talk about Thanksgiving. But I'm still traumatized from about 19 years in the supermarket industry, vendor and grocery industry, so you can imagine that I'm still traumatized by Thanksgiving. So yeah, it's been a month since I've had a new podcast episode, but figured set everything up and just start talking. LA is kind of a tough place to live in the during the holiday times. It's more lonely than usual, but if you think about it, what if you have a wife or a girlfriend and you're kind of like watching TV or something and wondering who is this strange person next to me? So that's probably more lonely than it is being alone. But I'm a loner, so works out for me, right? So yeah, I've been a Lyft driver for the past 2 months, but some days I didn't work, so I would say part-time 1 month, but and super hardcore 1 month, I would say. Maybe 50 hours, maybe, sometimes 10-hour days. Right now we're going through some car trouble, so we are not working for the past 5 days, I think. Trying to get a new car. I'm in the process of racking my brain, watching too many YouTube videos of what not to do and what to do of getting a car, and it's driving me nuts, actually. And I think I'd rather just suffer and just go get the damn car than to keep on watching these videos of these experts, man. God. Yeah, overall, I would say Lyft is a good experience. I'm not going to bitch about it. I like the people, and I like going out there and working long days and helping people out, and of course it's it's a money issue. It seems like, me personally, I've spent a lot of money in gas for the past month. I added everything up and it was like $450 worth of gas, because gas in LA is expensive. So looking on getting a hybrid car, so doing research about hybrid cars and about how to fix my car right now. So learning mechanic stuff I didn't know before, and I replaced the coolant reservoir thing, and I did that myself. And then I tried to install new brake pads myself, replace the brake pads, but that hasn't been panning out. So decided to sell my car. There's a lot of stuff, like selling my car and getting a new car. There's a lot of stuff going on right now, and then I can't work until the car is good to go, because right now I don't trust that car out there right now. So that's what I'm doing. But other than that, a lot of stuff's going on. I went to San Francisco and I went to see my friend's band, and that was cool. What else? Yeah, like I said, I'm not looking forward to Thanksgiving, but I'm gonna go to Buddhist temple and eat Thanksgiving and hang out. And might call my mom and dad, but I don't really like talking to them on the phone. But I figured I'd sit in full lotus and then listen to them bullshit or whatever and bitch about whatever they want to talk about for 10 minutes, and then be like, hey, I gotta go, goodbye. So what else? Yeah, it's been getting dark at 5 p.m. daylight savings time. So a lot of people don't like that, because as far as being productive, stuff you can't do past 5 p.m. then you can't do. You have to, what's the phrase, accord with conditions, so sold some stuff on eBay. I posted some stuff on eBay just now. Had to take had to cash in my silver and some stocks. I had to sell some stocks and everything to get some down payment going on. So got that going on, and then sell my car. Yeah. I haven't been listening to a lot of music, but I did listen to a lot of music on the way to San Francisco. So, yeah, getting back to what I was talking about, I saw my friend's band, and then I haven't seen a metal show in a long time. So that was kind of rough to be in there for first of all, shout out to pulmonary fibrosis from France. They're good people, but the show is a little bit overwhelming, and kind of brutal to be in a place like that for like 10 hours and being around like all the weed smoke and these kids getting high for balloons and nitrous oxide and stuff. So anyway, I was the one that gave them a ride. So then I gave them a ride home at like 2:00 in the morning, and then got off my sleep schedule. I like to, be on the early to bed, early to rise kind of schedule. So then we saw a bunch of grindcore stuff, grindcore bands, and honestly, I think, I don't know, I probably said it before, but it's overwhelming. I just want to quit like listening to death metal and heavy metal for a while. As much as I grew up on it and respected it, I think this change is good, So, selling some of my metal stuff that I didn't think I'd sell, but I don't even have a record player anyway. So there's two kind of special vinyl records that are in high-end demand right now. So I think they're gonna go by fast, and I need the money. So yeah, what else? It's about to be December, like last month of 2024, and wow, it's gonna be 2025 already. What else? So yeah, that show is in downtown LA by Skid Row, and everybody knows it's a pretty intense place to be. But we were inside this venue for, me and the band and other people were in there for like 10 hours, but then other people would show up later. Yeah, like I said, that's a long time. But I went to a special like left home ceremony, and what that is a good friend of mine, she became a nun, so I went to the ceremony, and that was in San Francisco. So it took like a good 6-7 hours to get there, and I actually worked at Lyft in San Francisco, and then that was cool. People were kind of similar to the LA people that you meet, but what do I know? I only did it for like 3 hours and enough to make like $40. So yeah, it was cool, And I know that I can do it again when I go back again. So the good thing is like I can just go there and without having to ask for days off from the last job. So yeah. And that ceremony was pretty special because it was like my first time I saw a left home ceremony, like someone shave your head and become a monk or a nun and go through that process. And ceremony it's not too long, but it's pretty awesome ceremony. And then the next day it was Medicine Master Buddha ceremony. That's like 7 or 8 hours. So it's a lot of work as far as like you're gonna be bowing a lot and going through ceremony and stuff. But yeah, it's good to see everybody. And then I made it back, and for that car to be 160,000 miles to go there and go back, you'd have to be like a person like me that like not even give a fuck to be able to do that. But that's not the smartest thing to do, but I did it. So like by the time I got back, I think I worked like a few more days, and then this like the check engine light and the traction symbol came on. It went off and it went on. No, it went on and then it went off. That's what I'm trying to say. But then I scanned it at the AutoZone with the free thing they have, and then they printed out something, and it had to do with some transmission. But I cleaned the battery terminals, and then it drove a little bit better. There was some corrosion on the battery terminals, and then yeah, I've just been learning a lot of random stuff about it. But and then the guy I live with, he said the Chevy stuff isn't like mechanic friendly, and everybody's talking about Toyota. And then there's this old man on YouTube, and he's like kind of a smart ass, and he's like, yeah, I'm back, and they don't make it like they used to, and quit buying the new stuff and the old stuff. They made it better, and don't buy from CarMax, and don't do this. And I'm like, man, is this guy like anything? Because it seems like no matter what I do, I'm going to get screwed, like according to this like old school mechanic guy. But he has some good points, like the CarMax. I don't know, I thought I got a better deal in CarMax. This was like 8 years ago, but now it seems like it's pretty ridiculous. Like, may as well pay like $2,000 more for the new car than they're selling used cars for like $22,000, and then these hybrids are expensive. Anyway, like I wish I had a guest, but the last 2 guests on my podcast, like it didn't pan out, so I got some people in mind. But then I was gonna make a podcast with that band I just mentioned, but they're in France. They're from France, and they were here for like a month, and I think they went back by now. But that would have been cool, and I had like enough for like 3 people on like 3 different pairs of headphones if someone shares the mic on here, so. And then I thought about having people over the phone that I've known from back in the day, so. Yeah, but hey, like 27 episodes, it's not bad, even if this is the last one for this year. Like, what else is going on? Oh yeah, so Donald Trump's in office. Kind of want to say something about it. Like, actually turned into a non-voter this year. Like, I voted for him last time actually, but then I've turned like I was like, I'm not gonna vote. So then, if somebody asked me like, yeah, I didn't vote. So then, one thing about that is like, oh, you didn't vote, so you can't criticize and talk shit about the government. But like to me, it's like, well, I think it had to do with like that smart ass George Carlin interview of like, I on the other hand, I didn't vote, so I'm not a part of like voting for these liars and all these douchebags, So yeah, for me, I can't like vote for somebody that's all about lying, and it has to do with like selling yourself and being a con artist, and this whole thing with Kamala going on, and she turned into like the option or something. Like when Joe Biden dropped out, when he dropped out, it's like, okay, now she's gonna take over. And then but honestly, I thought the whole vibe in LA would have like really gone downhill since he's the president, because of last time. Like that was a real, like you could feel the tension and feel the vibe from everybody. But maybe it has to do with me not working in the past, like not working as hard as like in some areas, because I was like in Echo Park, and I was in Foothill, and I was like in different parts of LA. So maybe it's different like as far as where you're at. Like right now I'm in the San Gabriel Valley, and then one of the like worst vibes I ever felt was like in Echo Park, and that like artsy kind of hard to get around over there. Like I felt like demons were attacking me or something. So what I'm trying to say is like, LA is pretty brutal as far as like it's like a political place to be. If you look at like Rage Against the Machine and all the stuff going on, and the downtown LA protests and stuff. So I thought it'd be like a different vibe as far as him being in office, but it seems like everybody's just used to his bullshit by now, so they just got like kind of comfortable with him being president. I could be wrong, but that's where I'm coming from right now. But yeah, like my mom called me on the phone, and she's talking about like, you need to vote for Kamala, and I'm like, yeah, you shouldn't tell me who to vote for, and I'm not gonna vote. And she said, well, suit yourself, But I thought she would have like gotten it. That would have been an argument right there, Because what else? Yeah, we'll see what happens. But somebody asked me if I could choose between one of the two. Like, yeah, I would have voted for Trump then, because of like the economic reasons. And some people say, yeah, he's not a politician, he's a businessman. And then some people say like, he's not good at being a businessman because he just like failed at his casino in Jersey and he screwed over all these people. But yeah, I actually ran into like a coworker from Amazon, and I was at Lyft, and then I saw him from the side of the van, and he's like one of the Latinos for Trump. He's like, I wish it was better when Trump was in office, dog. So then actually it didn't have anything to do with I just like randomly saw him when I was working at Lyft and passed by him and caught up with him for like 5 minutes, so that was cool. But yeah, it's not even like a racist thing. It's more of like, not like what is it, like, how people say it's racist, but like that's not where I'm coming from. Like, it's more of like a business kind of thing. And like he was saying what people want to hear and what they want. And yeah, anyway, that's all I got to say about that. I know that's a big deal, having a new president, so hopefully next year like we'll be like back in a better economic situation than this year, because yeah, Joe Biden, I didn't like what he was doing as far as that. Like, as far as like all, it seems like the gas and the groceries and stuff like that in LA is like pretty ridiculous. But yeah, I pretty much eat like one meal a day, so that's not the average person's. Yeah. So what else is going on? Yeah, being a Lyft driver is pretty cool. As far as like the variety of people and like different people getting in the car, I think it's interesting. I know like people's problems aren't any of my business, but I actually like listening to the conversations, and it keeps me like entertained throughout the day, because I don't like to listen to music while people are in the car, because then I get distracted as far as like focusing on driving. And you focus on driving, and if somebody wants to talk, then I'm down to talk to people, but that's like enough focus right there, like driving and then talking to people. And if they don't talk, I'm just focused on driving. So then if I have music playing, then I'm like, I get actually afflicted because of the music. I start analyzing if they like the music or not. So then, but sometimes the silence is kind of brutal, and it's kind of like, you gotta play something, you know. So I got these two, I got this MP3 player and this another portable radio thing, and then I have the GPS lady going through the Bluetooth on the Pioneer CD player. It says BT audio, so that's like Bluetooth audio. And sometimes people think I'm interested in, as far as like sharing a few stories. Like one time, I said like they said, "Oh, well, you have kind of an accent, so where are you from?" So I was like, South Carolina. So for me, I'm not even super proud to be from South Carolina. It's more of like, that's where I'm from. But if I loved it that much, that I would have stayed there. So it's like I'm proud of some of it, but some of it I'm like, I'm not ashamed of it, but it's not like a lot of cool stuff's from South Carolina. Like, but in like where I'm from in Florence, like people that live there say, I hate Florence and I can't wait to get out, but people get comfortable and get stuck there and have kids and get stuck there and have shitty jobs or whatever they're doing. But there's a lot of good music from there. So even the people that were like super into music that I was in the music scene with, I tried to do something here, and then I would put it on like the social media, and then they already knew like what my influences were in terms of that music. They said like, hey, that sounds like this and that put together, and this sounds like this. You couldn't get anything past them on that one. And then out here, people are kind of like, I wouldn't say behind with the music, but as far as like people like actually taking the time to listen to what you're doing and like caring, like, or supporting you, it's two different ball games really. So you can do stuff out here that you can't do over there. Like my friend's got sponsored by Schecter Guitars, and you meet all these cool people. So you gotta like, if you're there, do what you work with what you have when you're over there, and when you're over here, like, you gotta like take advantage of like the stuff going on out here. But yeah, I played guitar today, and it was like I actually fixed my it's the Jackson JS22 guitar, and I fixed it. I thought it was a truss rod thing, but it's actually the action. I raised the action on it, and I just don't have an amp right now, but I can play through this pedal. I actually have two distortion pedals I can play through, but it takes a while to set up that with this mixer I have, and it's the same mixer I use for the podcast. What else? But yeah, Lyft is I'm looking forward to going back to work whenever I get this car set up. So I walked to Chan beginner class, and my Chan teacher, she knew that something was wrong with me. Like, hey, what's wrong? Like, and then I told her about what happened with the car. But so then I sat next to somebody that would like ended up sitting for like 2 hours in the full lotus position, and she was flipping out and crying and whatever. And then there was a new person next to me, and then she was doing it and then quit, and then talking about health and like yoga and stuff. And I mean, there were like eight different people in there talking about 8 different things. So I like it because you get people with different backgrounds that are that have different goals and have different problems with their body and stuff like that. So you get to learn a lot about that. And then with me, it was like, yeah, I walked there, and then I felt better after 45 minutes or an hour and a half or whatever. And we just, at first you kind of don't want to do it, and then you start doing it and you feel better. So yeah. All right. But, I think that's all I got right now though, man. So, just looking forward to getting back to work and taking care of business really. So, film recommendations, Shaolin. Actually, first of all, shout out to Big G right there. Give me his DVDs. So, Shaolin Challenges Ninja. First, it started off kind of slow, like first 10 or 15 minutes, and I'm like, what's up? But then after that, straight up kicked ass. So, like, kind of blew me away. So yeah, that one, Marshall Club, that was like pretty much, I forgot what it was about, but it had to do with some like a female martial artist too, and she straight up kicked his ass like throughout the whole film. And I was ready for him to slap the shit out of her, but I don't think that happened. But not really give away the film, but it was those two are just as good as the Executioners from Shaolin, actually, by the Shaw Brothers. So what happened was a friend of mine gave me like 5 or 6 different DVDs, and I'm still watching them. So like every those two I recommend, and then I haven't been listening to much music, and then just getting kind of tired of the same old stuff. But then actually like these kids, I dropped them off at a show in Hollywood. It was at the Fonda Theater, actually. I was like, hey, what are you guys going to go see? And he said, going to see some band called Julie. And I'm like, what is Julie? And he said, it's yeah, man, it's shoegaze. And I'm like, what is that? Like, I've heard of that term, and there's some band called like My Bloody Valentine, or it's like, to me it's alternative, but you would classify it and cut it up into pieces and label it something. And I was like, why do they call it shoegaze? And he said, like, yeah, man, like, I think the name came from like when they would play shows and look at the pedals and look at their shoes and kind of zone out, and then it would be called shoegaze. So I was like, oh, okay, that's why it's called that. Okay. But yeah, that's a trip. And then some other band, I forgot the name. It was like, never mind, I forgot the band name, but I was taking these 2 girls, they're kind of hipsters, to the Echoplex in Echo Park, and then what I do is somehow I remember the name of the band, and I end up checking out the music, and most of the time it's pretty cool. So yeah, and yeah, you meet different people, and actually another thing I like about Lyft is like, as far as being on, I mean, I know it's not like I'm trying to get girls and trying to like be in the dating thing or anything, but like, as far as being on the dating websites, when you see people, you end up judging them, and then like for me, I'm a judgmental person, and I would judge them like something stupid they said, or something they're about, or some kind of attribute. But then like when I meet people in real life, it's way better, and you get like a totally different impression of people. And I think like I think at first like women put up some kind of like wall of themselves on online dating just so certain number of jerks won't match with them or won't send them messages. So it gave me a different perspective of that. Like, I was like, okay, a lot of these girls are really not as bitchy as they seem in this dating thing. That's more of so like, these jerk guys won't talk to them, if that makes sense. Like why do these hot girls go to these gay clubs in West Hollywood, and I take them to, they like going to the gay clubs because then the jerks aren't there to hit on them, so then they don't have to deal with it because they are constantly dealing with it, if that makes sense. So yeah. 2 other must-see films: There Will Be Blood and American Gangster, which I always enjoy watching on Thanksgiving, actually. And There Will Be Blood just because that's like a brutally badass movie. Like, I would put that in my top 5. I've mentioned that on my podcast before. And it was just like a perfect, flawless movie. Maybe it has something to do with me not like being a family, or not caring too much about my family, and then abandoning my family. So maybe I can relate to like the coldness of the character, or I mean some of the personality attributes of the Daniel Day-Lewis character. And then as far as growing spiritually, not being able to relate with the character. And American Gangster, there's actually a Thanksgiving scene in that film. Not going to give it away, but it has some, I was telling a friend of mine, it has some flawless acting and some not so perfect parts of the movie. One of my best friends, actually, that died of alcohol, rest in peace, he had a really smart ass comment about American Gangster, but that's kind of a spoiler alert, so I'm not going to say the comment. but he could take your favorite movie and just like give you a different perspective of it. Like American History X, like a lot of people said that was badass, but then he said he had a different take on it, you know. So yeah, rest in peace to Andy Phillips. Maybe I can make a whole episode about him, like one of these days. Like we saw got like a lot of stories. One time we showed up at this old guy's house, or an old couple's house, and they lived out in the middle of nowhere, and they could have like pulled a gun on us and shot us and gotten away with it because we were on their porch like sitting on the swing just bullshitting, and then they come out and they're like, what are you doing, you know? And they were nice about it. So yeah, I'm not gonna tell a story, but maybe next time. So what else? Yeah, my best friend died like on Thanksgiving, Dusty Strickland in South Carolina. So had a lot of karmic obstructions when I came back from South Korea in 2021, and went through a lot that year. And then when I came back, I went through even more in like a very short time frame, and it made me stronger. So yeah, check those movies out if you haven't seen them. Those two. Definitely must see films right there. And another joke for you at the end of the show. There's a new girl on the block. Her name is Courtney Like, and she's been getting a ton of likes on Instagram. She will soon be surpassing the fame of Courtney Love, so beware and watch out. I think Courtney Love is jealous. Just kidding. So yeah, Courtney Like. I think I have the potential to be a writer for Saturday Night Live, or we could have the resurrection of In Living Color, and I would be looking forward to collaborating with comedy writers. Actually met a comedy writer or comedian and got in my car, and then she was a trip. She like laughed at everything that she said, and I mean, I thought it was funny, but it's not like I even had to laugh, you know. It's like, yeah, you're funny. And she was like, yeah, especially like living here, yeah. It's like, and drop people off at these pain in the ass places, like on the corner of whatever with the hazard lights, and yeah, looking forward to coming back, definitely. All right, well, that's it for this episode, and stay updated with me. All right, thank you, everyone.